happens when they pull down these servers? Are we no longer able to import old actions?
No. No, you wouldn't be able to.
Yeah.
It relies on EA servers. But they've kept them up this whole time. The multiplayer is probably still working.
That's gross.
They knew they were eventually going to make another game. They just kept changing their mind on what it would be.
Mm-hmm. They should be like, yeah, in Dragon Age 4, none of your previous things mattered anymore.
Well, so in because they decided on the concept Dreadwolf, 4 is actually going to be interesting because this is the first time they've made a game that is a direct sequel to the main game that came before it. Because 2 is not a direct sequel to 1.
No.
It's something that went alongside 1 and then went into the future.
It's a sidequel.
And then Inquisition is separate from that as well. However, it is set up in one of the DLCs of 2.
So for all we know, there could be a DLC coming out for this game.
No, there already is.
Oh, there is?
Yeah, Trespasser.
Okay, and it leads into the next game?
Yes.
Okay. Now, was that made before or after they cemented their plans?
Before.
Okay.
Because they had the original concept, which we don't really know what the story was for that. And then they canceled that to make Dragon Age Anthem, and that got canceled, and now there's Dreadwolf. But Trespasser goes into Dreadwolf, but Trespasser was made before we got to that point.
Okay, but where's the mobile game at?
You know, I'm sure there is one. I'm sure there is one. Everything comes at least with a mobile companion. Bethesda released a new Elder Scrolls mobile game.
Another new one?
It's called Castles. It's like Fallout
Oh,
Shelter.
yeah, I heard about it.
So, I want you to understand how quickly you beat the Blight in the first game. It took like a year. Right?
I wouldn't say that quickly.
The second Blight, you did the 5th Blight. The second Blight took 10 years to beat. It took the combined forces of a rather powerful Grey Warden Order, instead of, 2 of them, and the combined armies of the Empire of Orlais, the Free Marches, and Navarra, working together.
Yeah.
The first Blight, how long do you think the first Blight took?
25 years.
100.
Woo!
First Blight took 100 because there were no Grey Wardens.
Mm-mm.
They didn't know what the fuck to do.
Mm-mm.
And the Darkspawn were like a new threat. The first Blight was when the old god Dumat became an archdemon, which is who you went to his temple here. Corypheus keeps talking about Dumat.
Mm-hmm.
It took 100 years to defeat that one, and this is when Tevinter still controlled everything. However, Tevinter was a little bit weaker, but they still controlled everything. So this is before Andraste even. It was actually after Tevinter was weakened from 100 years of fighting the Blight that Andraste's rebellion happened. And so the Darkspawn are a good reason why Andraste succeeded.
Yeah.
And then gave some land to the elves, thus creating the Dalish and every other nation that you know of that is not Tevinter. And Solus might be, well, at least he competes with, the oldest person you've met.
Was he made before Plymouth?
Yeah, I'm not sure about that part, but
Okay.
like, compared to everybody else, like Corypheus is the elder one. Not compared to Solus, Plymouth. Both of them are like maybe 7,000 years older, 5,000, like way older.
Are they older than the Darkspawn Archfiends?
Yes. Well, okay. So this does not get explained anywhere in this game, I'm pretty sure. Do you want me to answer a direct question about... Whoa, where's the sound effects?
Yeah, no idea.
Oh,
There they go.
The validity, because I know I've touched upon it, of the Elven religion compared to other religions.
You've stated that of all of the religions, they are the closest.
Yes, they are the most correct.
Because
I've stressed that part.
they view their gods less as gods and more like people who get really, really fucking strong and ascended beyond.
Well, no, that's my version of what
Okay.
they are. That's how I kind of summarized it in its current state. They view them as the creators.
Yeah.
They see their gods as, okay, life was created, And then the creators were born from life, and they're the ones that weaved everything that we know into existence from what there was. That is not exactly true, but that is the closest to correct.
Okay.
And the elven religion was also older, technically, in a way, than Andraste and the Maker. That because that came after the Darkspawn.
Long after.
Like, that came after the first Blight. The Tevinter old gods, of course, are older than that.
Yeah. They have to be for there to be archfiends.
Yes. But, like I said, the elves are the most correct. And because I don't believe they explain it anywhere, and because you're just going to be doing a bunch of open world stuff, might as well drop some lore on you.
Alright, let's go.
The creators existed before anything that you see here. Trees like this did not exist. Humans did not exist. Elves technically did not exist. Because the world was completely different. The veil did not exist.
Was
the
it
Fade and the material world were together.
One. Okay.
Yes. And this is when the creators were born. They existed in this time.
So
when life was completely different.
So, and at this point, there wasn't any, like, let's call them waves in the immaterium portion of the world. So, like, there wasn't, like, crazy influxes of power and demons like that. That stuff didn't exist. It was more like there was light and power available to the world and up for the taking to whichever grabbed it first.
There's not a good explanation of how life was back then. It's just, I can tell you for a fact the creators are from that time. And theoretically at this time there wouldn't be demons because there is no moving between the Fade and the real world because it was one world. So there would only be spirits and then maybe some other form of life, which could be the creators. And also the quote-unquote forgotten ones of the elves might be that too, but that's not really explained anywhere. That's a better explanation of something I told you 2 games in like 2 years ago. Now that you know so much more about what there is. Not only is it the most correct, it's really the only one that you could say is correct, sort of. There is still information I'm leaving out.
Such as where the creators went.
Well, we know they were locked away in the heavens.
Okay, so those are the elven creators then.
The heavens, quote unquote. That the elven heaven is where Solus locked them away.
Yo, did Solus is the reason that the two sides are separate is because Solus did it? That's how he tricked them? He tricked them into splitting the materium in half and then stealing them away on the other side?
Do you want a full answer?
Yes.
Solus created the veil. Solus created the veil in order to imprison the creators in the heavens, thus separating the Fade from the real world, thus potentially creating the conditions required to make demons.
So all demons are his fault.
But also humans and elves, etc. That's me guessing. Like there's no explanation on that part. That's why I said potentially there.
All right, it's all his fault. That's why he gets so butthurt about all the Fade related stuff. It's all his fault.
It's because he's so old. He knows when spirits were like pretty much probably the only thing, and he was friends with all of them. He didn't like the creators. He didn't like the forgotten ones. That's why he locked them all away.
He liked his wife.
We don't know that. Calling him the trickster god is also only like one retelling of a story. It's only like one version. The other version has him as a hero, just like Mythal. One version has her as
a mother,
amazing, like goddess of life or whatever, and she's so nice and awesome. And the other one has her as
a monster who will fucking kill you if you touch her children.
Which is kind of like what you meant. with the knowledge that Solus created the Veil to lock away the creators, that allows you to know that the creators are in the Fade.
Yeah. They should have been in the Golden City, right? Or is that something different?
The named place he locked them away is Arlathan, which is the capital city of the elves, the old elves. Which, with this information that was released like a year ago, you can assume Arlathan is in the Fade.
Okay.
The Golden City is a shared belief of existence, like this place exists. This is the seat of the Maker.
Okay.
This is what the religion of Andraste would say. But to some extent, like the Tevinter also believe in it. They just don't believe in the Maker. The Maker is more of a creation of the Andrastian religion.
So we can assume that all three of those places are the same place, just different names and different interpretations of the same thing. Like I see something, a city in the Fade. It's powerful. It's beyond imagining. It's gold. It's black. It's what?
The Golden City, the Black City, turned black, says, you know, everyone in the game up till this game, when the Magisters went there. You've now met one of the Magisters that went there,
Correct.
and he said he got there, and
it was already
black, and it was empty.
There was no one upon the throne.
Yes, there was no one sitting upon the throne, and he found darkness and became it, aka he became a darkspawn. So he has been to the Golden City / the Black City.
Yep, and he's seen emptiness.
Yes, he found no Maker.
I mean, that could be explained with, instead of being idle and sitting on the throne and waiting for answers to come to them, they could have actively gone out and sought it themselves to see why they're not there. And that was the last red lyrium.
Nice.
Or it could be something along the lines of in Halo, the way the Flood were created was there was a alien race before the precursors called, or before the what are they called? The Forerunners. Before the Forerunners was a species called the Precursors, and they seeded all of life in all of the universe. And they're like, well, we don't want to fucking wait for all this stuff to age, so we're gonna put ourselves in stasis and wake up after, you know, a few million years, you know. To do so, they basically turn their bodies into powder and sent the powder into space, and the powder is destined to recoalesce together and reform the precursors. Well,
the Andrastians' version is that the Maker abandoned life because he was so upset of what the Magisters did to his Golden City. That's the explanation you've gotten over the past games.
Look on those nobles' faces back at the Winter Palace, Chuckles?
They seemed unaccustomed to seeing elves without servants' livery, or dwarves at all.
Priceless. That's definitely going in my next story.
Are you planning a chapter filled with courtly intrigue?
The problem with the precursor thing was there was a bit of a fucky-wucky, and instead of recoalescing into their former selves, they turned into the Flood. So
we've heard that dialogue before, by the way. This
yeah,
is the second time that's played.
Yeah, I heard it. But, like, the first time we heard it was just like 30 minutes after we left that place.
Yeah,
know?
And now it's just like, okay, here it is again. I can tell you exactly your guess between like Arlathan and Golden City, etc., like their relation. Well, it's not going to be explained in this game.
Yeah, if it's not being explained,
I can tell you.
Yeah, just tell me.
They are the same place.
Okay.
The ancient city, the elven city of Arlathan, the capital city that Solus created the Veil to lock away and trap the creators inside of, is what the humans consider to be the Golden City, and it actually turned black when Solus locked it away behind the Veil. That's when it turned black. The Golden City does exist. It did turn black. Corypheus did get there and already find it black. There was no maker sitting upon the throne. All of these things are correct, but it's also the ancient elven capital city of Arlethan, simply locked away along with most magic, because that's a lot of what the Fate is. It's just it's magic. It's magical life, essentially. And now this next part is just me being funny about something that could be true.
Yeah.
Technically speaking, that makes Solus the maker, if you think about it. Because all this life exists because of him.
Yeah.
Which is just a funny thought. That's not like an actual thing.
I think the funny thing is the fact that he gets mad at us for doing the things we do, but we only exist because of him. So if anything, it's all his fault. Anything we do is his fault. It's always his fault.
Yes.
Oh no, you're corrupting the
he
spirits.
knows that. He knows that. He's fully aware of that.
You have it. Please open the door. I can't stand it in here another second. Thank the Maker. Thank you.
Oh, you
Bitch.
thank him yourself.
Yeah.
That's just my joke. That's not like a real thing. But technically, he's the reason you exist, so
Yep.
you can thank him yourself.
Yeah. We just don't know if humans would have come around if he hadn't done that.
Technically not. No, because, like, you, as a warrior right now, you could not have existed. You are a being that is literally separated from magic. That did not exist.
Everyone was like...
Because magic and material life were the same, like, they were combined. Like some Mass Effect 3 green ending.
Yeah, okay.
Basically. That's how things were. Solus undid the green ending.
What a piece of shit. It's all his fault.
But now, take all this information, combine it with Corypheus is trying to get to the heavens to become a god. He's already been to the Golden City, found it empty, embraced darkness, literally, became a dark spawn.
Yep.
Kind of something beyond just a dark spawn, kind of like the Architect in a way.
So like, what if he's already seen that it's empty? Why would he go back there again?
He's not necessarily trying to go specifically to the Golden City, which is exactly what the Magisters try to do. He's trying to, as you can kind of tell by the rift and what he said,
he's trying to return it back to the way it was.
He's trying to break. Yeah, he's trying to break the veil.
Yeah.
He's trying to break through the veil so that he can enter the Fade himself, just fully, and do whatever he wants to do with that.
Yeah.
However, nobody really knows, like, and this is why you're trying to stop him. Nobody knows what that will do. It's like, what the fuck? You're trying to break the veil? Wouldn't that just mean everything goes flooding in both directions? That sounds like a world-ending scenario. We can't let you do this, Corypheus. Corypheus. Oh my god! Okay.
I don't know what I was supposed to do there, but...
Have the guys halt before you go across?
It didn't matter. They were all inside of each other. That was gonna happen regardless. And I couldn't push my way through them because they'd push me off anyways.
10 out of 10.
If you meant like me stop them before walking across the bridge, yeah, I could have done that.
So now you know, Corypheus is using an ancient elven artifact
Of Solus.
that has something to do with Solus. He's using it to try to destroy the veil. It has that power that Solus created.
I mean, spells usually are the person who put it down should be the one to break it.
But Solus is trying to help you
Not do that.
stop Corypheus from doing this.
Yeah. He doesn't want that shit to happen. He knows the repercussions. Because now that the Fade is separate and we can still affect the Fade, we've put that shit in turmoil like crazy, and reality wouldn't survive that kind of torrent in such an immediate way. Like, I'm sure if you knew of a way to do it slowly over time, weakening it would probably be the safer option, not this like, well, time to pull the plug.
There is an answer to that.
Uh-huh.
You won't get it in this game, but
Uh-huh.
you'll get a very important plot point for it after the credits.
Okay.
But no direct answer.
Okay, yeah. I just think it's so crazy that even though he split the fade and all that,
Mm-hmm.
that we can still affect the fade
Mm-hmm.
on that side. It's like what he did actually wasn't even complete. He didn't fully separate the two. He put, as the name would suggest, a thin veil between them.
Yes. That's exactly what he did. Enough to lock things behind it, but not enough for the life that would come after it
Mm-hmm.
to be completely detached from it in every way.
Which is pretty neat.
You never know, that probably wasn't even his intention.
Yeah.
He didn't know what the hell was going to happen after he did it to, like, everything outside of it.
But he did it anyways.
He just had a goal, and it involved locking away the creators, and he did it. The creators and the Forgotten Ones.
You know how, like, the blood isn't even necessary. Like, you could just tell me, oh, she tried to cross this little tiny bit of water, slipped, and she couldn't get up because the clothes were too heavy, and she drowned. You know? Like, that happened frequently. Yeah. That bitch went.
So now maybe it makes a lot more sense when Solus talks about entering, like, he spent a lot of time in the Fade.
He spent a lot of time of reality at that point. Back when he was around, the Fade, reality, same shit.
Which, now you also know, we've already discovered in the story, people can enter the Fade through certain means.
Yep, physically.
Very rare means.
Physical.
Yes. But we also, now maybe Flemeth's story has some more context. She was trapped in the Fade. She got locked away in Arlathan, the Golden City, by
And-
that guy.
Yep.
And it was so hard to get out, she just had to abandon her body completely, whatever she had, and take over this random bloodline that offered itself to her. Which was probably another you're the only one type of deal, realistically.
Yeah, so what happened to her body? If it's still in the Fade.
Well, whatever. We don't know what their bodies were in a time where magic and material were combined.
Yeah.
Whatever it was, she had to essentially leave it behind or something. She needed some sort of host to get here.
She turned into the Black Goo. She is the mother of the Darkspawn.
And she could have died. Like, you did kill her, but she saved herself by putting her own, like, spirit, essentially, into that artifact that Hawk then brought away.
Yeah.
Although, reminder, killing her in one is not canon.
Aw.
Just like the old god, not canon.
Aw.
Yeah, I edited you asking about the old god being canon, and you were asking several times, and listening back, I could hear how sure you were that it was canon, like, and then I just keep hearing myself go, no, it's not canon. You did not have to have the old god. It didn't have to be the warden. It could have been two other people, and you could reach this game without the old god having been put in that child.
Aw. What about the relationship between the Grey Warden and Morgan?
I mean, that could still happen.
Okay, but
Separate to the old
it's
god.
not necessarily canon though.
No, that's not canon at all. Because you could be in a relationship with Leliana.
Yeah. What about Leliana becoming Pope?
That's not canon. Very few things are canon. Like, they must happen.
Like, there was a Grey Warden. He stopped the Fifth Blight. End.
Yes. There is Flemeth, and she survives. No matter what. One way or another, she finds a way to survive.
One way or another.
So this is why I refer to the creators as being powerful mages. Because for all intents and purposes, as the ones you meet exist, in the world that you interact with, that's exactly what they are. Is they're powerful mages. And that's kind of what the Magisters are too. They're just powerful mages. They're not special.
Alright. You know how, in the Star Wars lore, you've got, like, the old Republic and how powerful the Jedi and the Sith were then?
Yes.
Compared to modern day, post-BBY.
Where they talk every movie about, oh, the connection with the Force is weakening. We're so weak lately.
Yeah.
Wonder why? Never gets explained.
Yeah. Is the power gap like that or worse?
Theoretically, much worse. I mean, you had a being so powerful, he created something to separate portions of existence and lock them away thinly, but he still managed to do it as one person.
I mean, they do that in Star Wars. Don't they have that fucking psychic bomb where you can like separate the Force from like an area like permanently? It's literally called like a mind bomb or something like that in Star Wars.
So in Star Wars, now talking about Star Wars is hard because it's like Disney just decided so many things don't exist and started rewriting them. Yeah. I'm just gonna leave Disney out of it.
Okay.
Just pretend they don't exist for right now.
Alright.
With Disney not included, Star Wars, you can effectively deplete a location of Force, but that's not necessarily permanent. There is also a lizard species that essentially blocks the Force around it.
Yeah.
But in every way, it's, again, not permanent. Because where there is life, there is the Force. They go hand in hand. The only exception, also not existing with Disney, is I forget how to say them, the Yuvon, whatever the fuck, which are aliens from outside the edge of the galaxy, where nothing is supposed to exist, that are separate from the Force. And that's their whole thing, is that they're literally from, like, this abyss outside of the Star Wars universe. And so when they come in, they're separate from that universe.
And so the Force doesn't affect them.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. It's just like a shtick, basically.
Yeah. I don't want to do this one.
You don't know how to make a star?
I just don't want to do it.
It's like one of those Japanese things.
Yeah.
It's either a shuriken or a kunai. I don't really.
Did I just do it? I still didn't want to do it.
You don't have to do them.
I know, but they got good shit.
There you go.
They got really good shit. I used that fucking prismatic great hammer or great axe for how long? Cut. What the fuck? Director, help.